Hello, my name's Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for November 30th to December 6th of 2014. And on November 30th, we have the sun. You can see it here as this black circle with a dot in it, and it's in Sagittarius. And in the ninth hexagram, and we can see all the way on the outside of the wheel, the stack of lines denoting the ninth hexagram, numbered from bottom to top. The ninth hexagram goes yang, 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 yin, yang, yang. And the ninth hexagram is mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here we have the ninth gate of focus, the taming power of the small. Potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. It's located in the sacral center in a collective logic energy path in the understanding circuit called the channel of concentration, a design of determination that connects to the 50-second gate of inaction, keeping still, the mountain, temporary and self-imposed inaction for the benefit of assessment. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we have the following activated gates on November 30th. We have the sun in the ninth gate. We have the earth in the 16th gate. The north node is in the 57th gate with the south node in the 51st gate. And then we've got Mercury in the 34th gate. Venus is in the 5th gate. Mars is in the 61st gate. And Jupiter is in the 4th gate. Saturn in the 14th gate. Uranus is retrograde in the 21st gate. Neptune is in the 55th gate, and Pluto is in the 38th gate. So obviously not every activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com and clicking on the button that says Get Your Free Rave Chart. And then just enter in your birth information. So the neutrino forecast is basically just a weather report. And no matter what the weather, your individual strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of the program. As Ra Uru Hu said, whatever the weather is going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather is for your pleasure. And we begin the week with one channel definition due to the transit field, with Mercury in the 34th gate and hexagram, and the north node in the 57. We have the channel of power, which is the design of an archetype, which will be with us until December 1st. And this channel brings an attunement to the body to have an acute early warning system to anything in the immediate environment. This increases our intuitive awareness through the power of sacral response. This may affect folks to feel on guard and alert to any dangers in the moment. This is an animal instinct to engage in battle or jump out of the way with a split-second response from our attunement to sound and vibration. And people will be more in tune with what's being said from the tone of voice of the speaker rather than the words spoken. Sometimes this is experienced as a coolness by others, but this is an individual channel of survival, and it represents the archetype of what it is to be human. The defined splenic center brings intuition and well-being, and Ra warned that non-splenic people may let go of something that is good for them during a transit defining the splenic center. Certainly with the defined sacral center, non-generators might feel a little bit more busy, having a little more endurance to get things done, but certainly don't get used to it. It's a short-term transit. And we've been talking about all the individual circuitry over the last few weeks, and this is also individual, and so this definition brings melancholy. So folks might feel a little bit sad and wonder why, what is their relationships or their jobs or things like that. And for those of us who know human design, individual circuitry brings this melancholy feelings as something to use in our creative processes. So if you're feeling a little bit blue, find a creative outlet for that, energetic, rather than just wondering what it is in your life that's causing those feelings. So we're going to be looking at the sun's Ravi Ching line values daily because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come from the sun. And as Rob said in Living with the Program, the lines of the day, when talking about these shifts of line values, he said we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. If your strategy and authority doesn't really lead you in that direction, you can always just notice how the program's affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. On November 30th, we have the sun, and it's detrimented in the third line of the ninth hexagram, the straw that breaks the camel's back, the overlooked minor element that always predetermines failure. Detriment, persistent force that saps vitality and turns molehills into mountains, the power to turn a focus into an obsession. Third line days are days to be careful on the roads, be careful of swinging doors, swinging elbows. It's a day when we might have bonds made and broken. Third line days are about trial and error and things bump into you. It's a good material day, might be a good day to do business or work on the material plane. But you have to be careful because things could go wrong. But the things that do go wrong are there to lead to discovery. And then later on the 30th, the sun moves up into the fourth line, from the Marta line up into the opportunist line of the ninth hexagram. And this shift happens at 3:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's described as dedication, regardless of the pressures or stress, the disciplined attention to detail, exalted right actions that lead inevitably to actualization, the power to act on the potential of the focus. Detriment, the persistent urge to want to skip essential steps. The drive for action that ignores the details. And fourth line days, we're moving from the lower trigram, first, second, third line, to the upper trigram, fourth, fifth, sixth line, and which is a shift in perspective, moving from more of an inward perspective of the lower trigram to more of looking outward with the themes of friendship, companionship, networking. Fourth line days are great for social interaction. People are more open to networking, to being friendly and social. And then also on the 30th, Venus moves from the fifth gate to the 26th up here, and also Mars moves from the 61st gate to the 60th gate. So we're going to start out by talking about Venus, and then we'll get to Mars. In human design, Venus is very powerful and deeply misunderstood, according to Ra. Venus is about morality, natural law in which we deal with the other and the consequences of the world around us and what disturbs us on the moral level. If you look at your design and personality Venuses, they tell us about the moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life, and that if you don't act with moral clarity, Venus can be unkind in its retribution. Venus is in the 26th gate of the egoist, the taming power of the great, the maximization of power of memory applied to the nurturing of continuity. Venus in the 26th, in the first line, is a bird in hand, exalted, the ability to enjoy the dreams engendered by accomplishments in order to avoid the delusion of unlikely potential. The ego, which transcends limitation through dreaming, detrimented accomplishment as a license for foolhardy risk-taking, the refusal of the ego to be satisfied. And then we've got Mars going from the 61st gate to the 60th gate. So Mars is in the gate of exception, limitation. The acceptance of limitation is the first step in transcendence. Mars in the 60th gate in the first line is acceptance, the ability to maintain inner harmony when confronted by external limitations, a harmonic energy that can deal with external limitations. Detrimented, a drive for diversity when limited can only be become restless and agitated. Restless energy when confronted with external limitations. And Ross spoke about Mars being an extraordinary and immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. And Mars represents the warrior archetype. And by following our strategy and authority, we slowly refine the energy of our design and personality Marses from immaturity to wisdom. And then on December 1st, we have the sun moving into the fifth line, the heretical line of the ninth hexagram. And so the shift happening at 1:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the fifth line of the ninth hexagram is described as faith. The trust that detailed adherence will lead to fulfillment, exalted loyalty to the letter of the law, the power to focus and bring value to concentration, detriment like the mystery of God, doubt engendered through the perceived illogic of the process, where the lack of power to concentrate leads to doubt. And fifth line days are heretical. It's a day of suspicion, but also universalization, where something can leak out and spread like a virus, whether it's a YouTube video where suddenly there's millions of viewings or a Facebook post that goes viral. But there's also a great deal of suspicion and paranoia on a fifth line day due to the projection, where people project on other people and think they could do it, they'd be great at it. And then if the person doesn't do it, can't do it, doesn't want to do it, for whatever reason they don't meet that expectation, then the second part of the projection turns negative, where people get punished, which then, of course, can impact the nature of relationships. And seduction is also a fifth line theme. Also on the 1st, we have Mercury moves from the 34th gate and joins the sun in the 9th gate. So that takes away that definition. And so down here in the 9th gate. Mercury's the messenger of the gods. This is about communication, expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just as words, but also through music, according to Ra. And what do you need to communicate in life? Well, we communicate our design Mercury through the medium of our personality Mercury. And what might be communicated when Mercury is in the 9th? Well, maybe details or determination. This is the gate of focus, the taming power of the small. Potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. And Mercury is in the first line of the 9th hexagram is sensibility, balanced and responsible approach to problem solving, exalted the ability to avoid frustration through the creation of new forms, the power in focusing to create new forms, detrimented after a hasty and frustrating search, the urge to kick the door in when the key is in your pocket, the power to generate that which will lose focus. And then on the 2nd, the sun moves up into the 6th line, so we move from the heretic line up into the line of the role model on the roof of the hexagram. We're still in the 9th hexagram, of course. And this shift happens at 12:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 minutes after noon Eastern Standard Time. And the sun in the 9-6 is gratitude, the joy that comes with accepting small rewards for small victories. Exalted, where the power of the small nourishes right perspective, the power to enjoy the concentrating process. Detrimented, no single step is of value until the journey is over. The energy for expression that cannot find joy in the process until it's complete. And 6 line days, Ra talked about not getting stuck with your head in the clouds. Because you'll end up having something bang into your kneecaps. There's a real lack of focus on what's going on around you, because people are looking beyond their immediate environment. On the roof of the hexagram, we're looking towards the next hexagram. We're looking at what's coming next, not so much at what's happening right now. This like on a 3rd line day can have certain dangers of perhaps not seeing a car coming, not seeing a bill coming, because we're focused on what's the next thing, rather than what's the thing right now, under that influence. On the 3rd, the sun moves out of the 9th hexagram, leaving Mercury there, and moves up into the 5. And also the Earth moves out of the 16, and it moves into the 35. Okay, and the 35th hexagram, this is the gate of change, progress. By design, progress cannot exist in a vacuum and is dependent on interaction. And this shift happens at 10:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, with the sun in the 5th gate of fixed rhythms, waiting, the fundamental attunement to natural rhythms, waiting as an active state of awareness. And we're in the investigative 1st line of the 5th hexagram, which is perseverance. If the captain must, he goes down with the ship. Exalted, courage in the face of adversity, the power to maintain one's own rhythm. Detriment, the premature and often disastrous urge to cut one's losses. Weakness in maintaining one's rhythm when challenged. And with the sun in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd line, we find ourselves down in the lower hexagram, where people are more likely to be looking inward. They're more absorbed in their own process. And the 1st line has a theme of fear or anxiety that needs to be investigated. So this might be a day to study, not to act, a day to look into things, not to jump. It is a good day to deal with things that you don't understand, can't make sense of, or simply just don't know, with that 1st line energy. And then on the 4th, the sun moves into the 2nd line of the 5th hexagram, and this shift happens at 8:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 5th hexagram, 2nd line, is described as inner peace, the ability to ignore temptation to take premature action. Exalted, the gift of maintaining composure through idealizing tranquility, the power to be comfortable with one's own rhythm. Detrimented, inner peace experienced as stagnation, the drive for power that is constrained by the fixed rhythm. And 2nd line days, everybody's waiting for something. They're waiting to be called, typically because of natural talents. So people get stuck in their own trip. It's not really going to be a great day to have a party or something like that, because people would rather stay home under that 2nd line energy. Also on the 4th, Venus moves from the 26th hexagram up to the 11 up here. So And in human design, we talked about Venus a little bit being about morality. Venus in the 11th gate, this is the gate of ideas, peace, uh, a harmonic condition in the individual or society that permits assessment before renewed action. Venus in the first line of the 11 is attunement, the serendipity of being in the right place at the right time, exalted, the nourishment derived from being with those who share the same goals and aspirations, the gift of finding those who value your ideas. Detriment, the fear of anonymity, the sense that no one will value their ideas. And then on the fifth, the sun moves into the third line of the fifth hexagram, and the shift happening at 6:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 5-3 is compulsiveness, the fear engendered by a sense of helplessness, resulting in unnecessary stress and activity. Exalted compulsiveness that can be limited in its negative effect through flights of imagination. Though still stressful, they do not lead to action. A surrender to the limitation of a fixed rhythm through the empowerment of imagination. Detriment and unable to surrender and at odds with one's own rhythm. And third line days, we're talking about the martyr here, trial and error process, bonds made and broken, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work. So all those are themes that might come up during the third line energetic on the fifth. Also on the fifth, Mercury moves out of the 9 and joins the sun in the 5 here. And we've talked about Mercury, so this is communication. What might Mercury want to be communicating in the fifth hexagram? Well, maybe being in the flow with the rhythm of life. This is the gate of fixed rhythms, waiting, the fundamental attunement to natural rhythms, waiting as an active state of awareness. Mercury is in the first line of the fifth hexagram. Perseverance, if the captain must, he goes down with the ship. Exalted, the courage to face adversity and the power to maintain one's own rhythm. Detrimented, the premature and often disastrous urge to cut one's losses, weakness in maintaining one's rhythm when challenged. And then on the 6th, the sun moves up into the 4th line, the opportunist line of the 5th hexagram, shift happening at 4:51 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where the sun is detrimented and described as the hunter, waiting as a guarantee of survival. Detrimented, the vanity of personality so strong that it's unwilling to hide behind the blind. It threatens its very survival. The drive to deny one's own rhythm with predictable costs. And as we spoke about before, the 4th line, opportunist, the shift is more of an outward perspective with friendship, companionship, and networking being themes. So we continue looking at the sun as it's moving through the 9, the 5, the 26, and then the 11. Those are all the hexagrams which are associated with the Prometheus Godhead, which was covered in last week's offering. So no matter what energies are conditioning you during the week, just remember this experience is about being a passenger riding in a vehicle that's being driven by the magnetic monopole. So enjoy the scenery and let the vehicle take you where you need to go. Pardon me. And so, through using your strategy and authority, just focus on what's your strategy and authority, and then just witness what your life is. and what comes into it and what doesn't come into it through your strategy and authority. Because every single day we have really is a blessing, no matter what the dramas are that beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Um, I like to remember that I'm a spiritual being that's having a human experience by observing my movie, observing my play, as well as acting my part. So thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the weekly neutrino forecast will be on December 7th of 2014. Should be available on the 6th, when we'll continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the sky and the hexagrams of the I Ching. Just for those of you who've been wondering about the radio show, it's been postponed until January as Kevin and Katie are settling into a new space with the Earth Needs Rebels show. And so later this month, I will, in December, I'll be giving you more information about the radio show as we get clearer on the details. You can check us out on Facebook, Blogger, or YouTube. There's New World Birth presences in all those places. I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. If you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I'd love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. You can also email me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you want to make a donation or get a reading. The readings I give are pretty epic, usually at least 2 hours long, and they're priced to hopefully make them available to just about everybody. And my hope is once we get the radio show back up and running, we'll have a place where you can get free readings as well. So anyway, as always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for all of these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. And like I said before, I'm looking forward to connecting with you in the future, whether it's in a reading or when the radio show's back on, or simply in a video. And feel free to contact me if you are so inclined. All right, thank you very much, and all my best to everybody.